Most people believe speed is strength. They rush their words, their decisions, their lives, convinced that faster means smarter, louder means stronger, movement means progress. But there is a different kind of power that does not hurry, does not chase, and does not react. It waits, and when pressure arrives, it remains exactly where it is. A mind that cannot be rushed, cannot be defeated, because it never leaves itself. In ancient Japan, this was not a metaphor. It was survival. Samurai did not train to be fast thinkers in chaos. They trained to be unmoved by it. Their strength came from presence so deep that time seemed to slow around them. This way of being was not emotional control alone. It was identity, and once formed, it could not be taken. Chapter 1. The pressure to hurry. Kenji was not weak, but he was always late to himself. His days were full, his mind crowded, and his reactions automatic. At work, he answered before thinking. In conflict, he defended before understanding. In silence, he reached for noise. He believed this was normal, even necessary, because everything around him demanded speed. The more pressure increased, the faster he moved and the less control he felt. Mistakes multiplied, not because he lacked skill, but because his mind was always one step ahead of his body. He lived in anticipation, not presence. Without realizing it, he had surrendered his center. Chapter 2. Musashi and the Unrushed Mind. Miyamoto Musashi wrote that timing is everything, but timing is not speed. It is accuracy. In his duels, Musashi often appeared slow, even careless, until the decisive moment arrived. While others rushed toward victory, Musashi waited inside stillness. His opponents exhausted themselves before the fight truly began. This was not strategy alone, it was a state of mind shaped by Zen. Musashi cultivated a mind that did not cling to outcomes, fear, or urgency. When nothing pulls you forward or pushes you back, you see clearly, and clarity is lethal. Chapter 3. The Cost of Reactivity. Kenji began to notice how often he reacted without choosing. Emails tightened his chest. Conversations triggered defenses before meaning formed. Even small inconveniences felt like threats. His life was not ruled by enemies, but by interruptions. Bushido teaches that a warrior who reacts emotionally has already lost, not because emotion is weakness, but because reaction surrenders control. When you are rushed, something else sets your pace, and whatever controls your pace controls you. Chapter 4. Mushin, the empty mind. Zen calls this state mushin, the mind without fixation. It does not mean blankness or passivity. It means the absence of unnecessary thought. The warrior acts fully, but without internal noise. No debate, no panic, no hesitation layered on top of the moment. Kenji misunderstood this at first. He tried to force calm, to suppress thought, to control himself aggressively. But the more he tried, the more strained he became. Mushin is not achieved through effort. It emerges through subtraction. Chapter 5. Subtraction as Discipline. The samurai did not add techniques endlessly. They removed excess. They eliminated habits that weakened attention. They simplified movements until nothing remained but what worked. Discipline was not about doing more. It was about refusing what did not serve the path. Kenji started small. He stopped responding immediately when tension appeared. He allowed silence to exist without filling it. At first, this felt uncomfortable, almost dangerous, but slowly he noticed something shift. The world did not collapse when he paused. In fact, it revealed itself. Chapter 6. The Non-Negotiable Pause. In Japanese practice, there is a moment called ma, the space between actions. It is not emptiness, it is readiness. Musashi understood that the pause before movement determines the quality of the strike. Kenji adopted a single non-negotiable action. Before speaking under pressure, he would pause for one breath, not to calm down, not to prepare words, but simply to arrive. This breath became his anchor. Over time, it became his edge. Chapter 7. When others rush, you see. As weeks passed, Kenji noticed how often others hurried themselves into mistakes. Arguments escalated because no one waited. Decisions were rushed to avoid discomfort. In meetings, speed replaced understanding. Because he no longer rushed, he saw patterns others missed. He spoke less, but when he did, his words carried weight. Silence stopped being absence and became authority. This was not dominance, it was gravity. Chapter 8. Ichigyo Zamai. One action, one mind. Ancient warriors trained in Ichigyo Zamai, total concentration on a single act. When drawing the sword, nothing else existed. Not fear, not future, not reputation. Only the act itself. Kenji applied this outside combat. One task at a time, one conversation fully entered, one decision without mental noise. Life did not become easier, but it became cleaner. Resistance faded because attention stopped scattering. Chapter 9. The Identity Shift. The greatest change was not external. Kenji no longer saw himself as someone trying to keep up. He became someone who set his own pace. Urgency no longer defined importance. Noise no longer meant truth. Bushido is an identity code before it is a rulebook. You do not act disciplined. You become someone who does not abandon himself under pressure. Once this identity forms, rushing feels unnatural, even unsafe. Chapter 10. Calm as an unbreakable state. A mind that cannot be rushed is not slow. It is precise. It moves when movement is necessary and remains still when stillness is required. It cannot be manipulated by urgency because it does not fear time. In conflict, this mind does not escalate. In chaos, it does not scatter. In silence, it does not weaken. It remains intact, and what remains intact cannot be defeated. The modern world will always try to hurry you. It benefits when you are reactive, distracted, and incomplete. The ancient path asks for something quieter and far more demanding. To stand fully in each moment without fleeing into the next. When you no longer rush, you reclaim your center. When you reclaim your center, pressure loses its power. And when nothing can pull you out of yourself, you walk through life the way the warriors once walked into battle. Unhurried, present, unbroken.